By the late 16th century, the Mughal Empire under Akbar had already conquered and swallowed nearly the entire Indian subcontinent. This stylized map highlights exactly why Akbar's expansion hit a wall. To move goods from the capital in Delhi to the wealthy ports on the western coast, Mughal caravans had to pass directly through one crucial bottleneck, the kingdom of Mewar. But Akbar rarely relied on open warfare to take territory. He used psychological leverage to fracture his enemies, successfully bringing the kings of Amber, Jaipur, and even Pratap's own family members into the Mughal fold. This strategy of internal fracture meant that by the time the Mughals marched, their enemies were often already defeated by their own kin, except for one king in Mewar who refused to bend, Maharana Pratap. Historical accounts record Pratap as a massive physical presence, standing roughly 7.5 feet tall. He marched into battle carrying a 70-kilo armor set, 10-kilo boots, a 10-kilo sword, and an 80-kilo spear. So how exactly does one isolated king, weighed down by the defense of a tiny territory, manage to resist a sprawling empire that simply bought or crushed everyone else? This diagram illustrates the harsh reality of the battlefield in 1576 at Haldigati. Akbar dispatched a staggering 80,000 troops. Pratap stood waiting with just 15,000. Knowing he would be slaughtered in an open field, Pratap abandoned traditional battle lines. He lured the massive Mughal force into the claustrophobic rocky passes of the Aravalli Hills, entirely neutralizing their numerical advantage. He also completely bypassed the traditional royal hierarchy to build his army. He trained indigenous Bhil tribes in guerrilla tactics and allied with Afghan commanders who shared his hostility toward Akbar. In the resulting chaos, Pratap's physical dominance took over. Facing Akbar's top military commander, Bahlul Khan, Pratap delivered a single sword strike so violent it cleaved the commander and his horse completely in half. Pratap survived the battle by weaponizing the landscape and integrating tribal archers into a modern command structure, stalling the Mughal advance through sheer tactical friction. Akbar eventually grew tired of the resistance and offered a massive bribe. He promised to hand over half of India, provided Pratap accepted Mughal sovereignty and surrendered Mewar. Pratap immediately refused. To ensure he never lost touch with the men bleeding for him, Pratap took a strict vow. He abandoned his palaces to live deep in the jungle. He ate off leaf platters and slept directly on the dirt alongside his tribal soldiers. He paired this harsh lifestyle with an unbreakable ethical code. When one of his generals captured the female relatives of a Mughal commander, Pratap was furious. He ordered the women safely returned to the Mughal camp with full honors. By willingly sharing the suffering of his foot soldiers and refusing to compromise his integrity, Pratap earned a fierce, fanatical devotion. Akbar had all the wealth in the world, but he couldn't buy that kind of loyalty. That intense devotion actually extended to the war animals on the battlefield. The most famous was Pratap's blue Afghan horse, Chetak. During a brutal skirmish, Chetak's leg was severed by a sword attached to an enemy elephant's trunk. Bleeding out, the horse carried his king away from danger, leaping a massive 28-foot trench before collapsing and dying on the other side. Pratap also commanded a fierce war elephant named Ram Prasad, who crushed 8 Mughal elephants in combat. When Akbar finally captured Ram Prasad using a trap of 12 other elephants, he tried to feed and tame him. Instead, the elephant refused all food and water, starving to death over 28 days. Akbar was facing a psychological resistance so absolute that even the animals under his control refused to submit. After years of endless, grueling skirmishes, Akbar finally gave up. He redirected his armies south, leaving Pratap to quietly reclaim the forts of Mewar. A few years later, Pratap died from injuries sustained during a hunting accident. When the news reached Akbar's court, the emperor wept openly, admitting he had spent his life trying and failing to defeat him. Pratap didn't conquer the Mughal Empire. He achieved victory through sheer endurance, refusing to submit until the world's most powerful military simply walked away. Yet the enduring tragedy of Pratap's life is that he was forced to spend it fighting in the jungle, precisely because neighboring Rajput kings actively aided the Mughal invasion. there is an old Hindi proverb, "When the house breaks, the neighbor loots." Pratap's struggle demonstrates that national resilience is determined by a society's ability to move past internal divisions of caste and creed to find a common purpose.